Hey everyone, I need your attention for 1 minute. This is not one of those ads. This is something that has changed my entire life. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that this is all about personal development as the foundation for everything good in your life. And this podcast is now sponsored by Growth Day, which is the world's first all-in-one personal development app. I mean, oh my gosh, can you imagine having everything all in one place that you need to create the life that you want? Now you can. So if you've been struggling with your motivation, your mood, your productivity, or your purpose, you have to check this out. Growth Day helps you consciously change your life and achieve your potential. It has all the self-improvement tools, motivational classes, and life coaching all in one place. So many of us want to improve our lives, but the question is how? Where do we start? What do we use? How do you get unstuck? How do you make self-improvement stick? Well, research shows how. It's when you consistently journal, track your habits, set goals, learn from empowering mentors, and challenge yourself that you'll be happier, healthier, and more successful. But let me ask you something. Where do you actually do all of your personal development work? I have to tell you that over 300,000 people use Growth Day for a reason. It works. It's the world's #1 software for self-improvement. Growth Day has an amazing mindset journal that I absolutely love, a habit tracker, and a goal-setting system. In fact, I bet if you went to my stories this week, you probably saw me using the journaling app and telling you to do it too, because it's the first time that journaling has ever actually stuck consistently in my life because of this app. And best of all, Growth Day has live inspirational classes every single week from the world's top motivational speakers and life coaches. These are people who have impacted my life in huge ways. These are mentors who I already knew and loved. In fact, this is something that's so huge for me, you guys. I personally teach a class in Growth Day every single month, and it is one of the most fun things that I get to do, and I'd love to see you there. These classes will truly shift your life. There's always something new that you will learn. So join me and 300,000 achievers growing our lives with actual real intention. Visit growthday.com/Lori for a free trial. Yes, you can try this for free. So go to growthday.com/Lori and go live your best life. You guys, that's growthday.com/Lori. And I can't wait to see you there.
Your personality is essentially just a compilation of the decisions that you have been making. Mm-hmm. And the decisions that you have been making over and over create the feelings that create who you think that you are.
Yep. And we're back.
With another episode of He Said, She Said.
Except on camera this time.
You guys, we're literally filming on camera right now, which is so weird because normally we are in a closet or on a floor trying to be quiet.
Trying to escape from these dogs. Puppy life is real.
Puppy life is real.
So I've
Grandma's
got Banana's favorite toys right here.
Yeah. So for those of you who cannot see, I have round balls in my office.
Round white balls in her office that she decorates
very
with.
Modern chic couch, Christopher Harder, and it has round balls for pillows. But our dog Bananas loves them. He carries the balls around all day long, and it's hilarious.
You know how many balls jokes I want to make right now?
You know what?
Speaking of your office, it's finally not like a sauna in here. You guys, I'm telling you, we're at our Arizona home right now.
Mm-hmm.
Great home. Love the home. But it's really big. And it has all these different thermostats that control all these different zones in house. I can't figure out how to keep my office from being cold and your office from being a freaking sauna. And for the life of me, I think I'm missing a zone. I think I'm missing a thermostat somewhere.
Zone. Like I'm positive because I've looked everywhere. We've tried every thermostat. I figured out my thermostat is the thermostat in the back of the house. I'm on the opposite end of the house. And you guys, I have to go back there and see what the thermostat is set at all the time because nobody goes to the parts of the home that they don't use. So I literally have to go check on it or I'm going to suffer, which is a great segue, Christopher Harder.
To
what we're talking about today. We are talking about resetting your emotional thermostat, your financial thermostat, and there's another one. Do you know what it is?
thermostat.
Your risk thermostat. Because right now, whether you know it or not, you have an emotional setting and an emotional comfort zone that you're probably hitting the ceilings on, and you're wondering why you're not able to break through. And it's because truly right now, your thermostat is set there and it is automatically going to go there no matter what. It's like, what is that part of our brain? The reticular activating system, where it literally, you put a number in, you put a thought in, and that's exactly what your brain is going to find. So if you have something programmed in there, that's exactly what you're going to get no matter what, because it is truly your default in your brain.
Well, listen, this is not a new concept, but it's a very simple concept that has a profound effect on people's life. And the easiest way to think about it is this: the way that you set your thermostat in the house, that's what you get. If you set it at 70, you're going to get 70. If you set it at 65, you're going to get 65. Now, a great example of this is if I went all the way back to my early 20s, my financial thermostat, you're going to laugh. I remember sitting down with a piece of paper and like scribbling out my plan and calculating out my plan. And at the time,
even in your early 20s?
Yes, but not in the way we do today. And at the time, are you ready for this? My goal was, if I could buy, I think it was 3 rental properties, live in half of one of them, I'd be able to pay the mortgages on them and then pay my bills and have an extra $2,500 a month. And I remember thinking, the extra $2,500 a month, I'd be rich. Like, I could go to the bars as much as I wanted. I could buy whatever clothes I wanted.
I'd be buying rounds.
Do whatever I wanted. Like, I'm telling you, young 20s, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Chris, who was, working in construction, like landscape construction.
I get at Forever 21 for that. I mean, like, essentially a quarter of the store.
So listen, the point is not to make fun of the $2,500 a month goal. The point is to realize how far I have reset the thermostat.
Okay.
So that now I can't even fathom that was once my goal, right?
Yeah. Which is crazy. If you would have gone back and told yourself that your thermostat would be where it's at, like, your brain actually could not have wrapped around it. So
I'll tell you the first way I reset it. I put myself in new situations where people told me more was possible. So when I was doing this, I was doing landscape construction while going to college, but I didn't want to be in college, right? So I'd go to college during the day and I'd go like plow at night in the winter, or I would go, lay sod in the late afternoon after classes. And the people I was hanging around at that time, their goal was to get a couple rental properties and have an extra couple grand a month. And I remember my foreman, Dave, who's a great guy, taught me a lot of great things. He would talk about that all the time. So I'm like, hey, pen to paper, this is my plan to get a couple extra grand a month and get a few rental properties. And then when I got kicked out of college, I remember my parents thought my life was over, and I was like so happy, like, yes, freedom, because I really just wanted to be out, buying rental property, participating in the economy. And I went and I got a job at this Ford Lincoln Mercury dealer, like one of the biggest dealerships in town, because I loved cars. So it made sense to me, like, go get a job doing what you want to be around all day. And when I got there, they told me in that first 2 weeks of training that a lot of the salespeople were making $60,000 to $80,000 a year. Now, guys, for context, this is the Midwest, and this is, let me do some quick math. This is 24 years ago.
Wow.
So probably year 2000, 1999, 2000, in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You tell me I can make 60 to 80 grand. I'm like, whoa, I've hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
So guess what I did? I reset my thermostat because someone told me it was possible. And then they gave me 2 weeks of training on how to do it. And I believed it. Whether it was good training or bad training, I don't remember, but I believed it. And I went out there and I quickly became, in 3 months, the top selling salesperson out of 25 salespeople, because I reset my thermostat and they said, well, if you do X, Y, and Z, you'll be able to go hit it.
You were shown it's possible.
Yeah. And so I believed it and I did it.
You have to be around examples of people. And for some of you, a podcast or listening to us is going to be enough, or reading a book is going to be enough. But for some of you, it's not.
Yep.
That's just the first layer. And honestly, even for us, it was just the first layer of like, okay, podcasts are amazing, books are amazing, but then you got to go and you got to do the tangible, and you got to be in the rooms, at the events, join the things, get that job that you look at the person who's crushing it at work and you set them as the goal. And, that is how you know it's possible. If anyone who is in your vicinity, if anyone that you are coming in contact with, that is how you know it's possible. And it becomes real. It has to become real for you.
Oh my God. I just thought of
what?
The people who are in your vicinity that keep dragging your thermostat down. It's like your parents when you're growing up and you'd go and you'd sneak and you turn it up and they come in and they're like, turn it down before you leave the house.
Whole life.
Right? Money doesn't grow on trees. Well,
68 degrees. I'm like, why do we have to freeze to death?
listen, I know they meant well, but they are that person in your life who keeps pulling your thermostat down.
Shit, that's good, Chris.
Right?
Hey y'all, I'm so excited to share with you that this podcast, Earn Your Happy, is now a part of the Growth Day Podcast Network. Truly, this is like one of the most exciting things that has ever happened to me. I'm telling you, I no longer feel like I'm doing this alone, and I actually get to collaborate with the people who host the podcast that I'm obsessed with, like that I have been listening to myself, who inspired me to start a podcast, who have taught me about how to go and do the thing, like the original people who got me motivated through listening to their podcasts. You guys, a bunch of us are coming together to bring more growth to the world and to support shows and brands that we believe in. And one of my friends are also on this network, and I'd love for you to go subscribe to their show. You guys, I just had Danielle Canty on of the Boss Babe podcast. She co-hosts it with her other amazing co-host and one of my friends, Natalie Ellis. You guys, you can go check out that podcast on mine. It's episode 925, and Danielle and I talk all about burnout and how that could be showing up in your life, and most importantly, how to prevent it. But I want to tell you, if you have not gone and checked out the Boss Babe podcast yet, go subscribe, because it is one of the largest online communities for ambitious women and female entrepreneurs. And I know that if you're listening to the show, chances are that's probably you. You guys, they have 3.6 million followers and 380,000 subscribers. The Boss Babe podcast is the place where they share real behind the scenes of building successful businesses, achieving peak performance, and learning how to balance it all. Most of all, you guys, truly, these women are in my life. Danielle and Natalie are people that I text on a weekly, monthly basis when I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel stuck. What should I do? I tune into their podcast, you guys, to learn. Even though they're my friends, I am still like crazy obsessed with this podcast because I learn something new every single time I listen. It makes me be a better podcaster. It makes me be a better businesswoman. It just makes me be better and more confident out in the world because they're so real and raw. And I can tell you that in the moments where I have had horrible days, down days, I've either gone and listened to this podcast or I've texted them, because these are the people who truly get it. You want to listen to the people who are walking in the same footsteps that you are. You guys, go check out the Boss Babe podcast. You're not going to be sorry. And it's just going to like make you way smarter, and you're going to have way more fun. So go check it out.
So that's how I started to reset my financial thermostat. And I remember being 21 years old, kicked out of college, making $80,000 24 years ago, and thinking I had hit the jackpot because it felt like it at the time. And then what happened? All my friends started getting into mortgages, and they were making a ton of, $100,000, $150,000. I thought, well, I want to do that.
Right.
And so I went and I talked my way into HSBC and started as
which is a bank.
Yep. Base level loan officer, and crushed it because someone said, look how much you could make. And here's the training how to do it.
Okay. Let's run through emotional thermostat then. So emotional thermostat being you have a personality. You think that is who you are. You have a set point. I've been thinking about this a lot, talking about it a lot. I've actually been listening to the same podcast over and over. This is the fourth time I've listened to it already this year. It is Joe Dispenza and Ed Milet. And it talks so much about this because, right now, every single one of us is like, this is who I am, how I am. This is how I function. This is how I react.
Sorry, babe. It's just how I'm built.
Yeah. It's all made up. Who you are right now, your personality, and listening to this podcast is just mind blowing. So I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes. Your personality is essentially just a compilation of the decisions that you have been making. And the decisions that you have been making over and over create the feelings that create who you think that you are.
Yep.
So every single morning, if I wake up and I start thinking of my to-do list, that's a choice for me to think of my to-do list to immediately start to feel crappy, depressed, and overwhelmed about the day, therefore making me think that I am anxious, depressed, and overwhelmed all the time. And that's just how I am. But that started with the initial choice in the morning of what am I thinking?
Yeah.
So our personality is just strung together thoughts that turn into strung together choices, that turn into strung together feelings, that turn into essentially Chris Harder. So if you wanted to change your emotional state, what is the thought right now that maybe you're thinking that you're trying to change? Like, what is something that you know could actually fundamentally change your personality and your emotional state if you worked on it more?
Well, listen, people have coined the term Chris fits. So if
true.
something disastrous happens, I do not lose my cool. I calmly rise to the occasion and I solve it immediately. But if something little happens, like I forget my car key and I've already gotten in the car, right? Like little dumb
not
things
as much anymore.
Little dumb things that shouldn't set me off. I throw a Chris fit. And after all these years,
it looks like a toddler who's freaking out not getting their way in a candy aisle, but also has to poop. Like that's literally what it looks like. And it's almost like a little hulkish too, like, and that's the sound almost. Like it's very crazy.
Well, so I guess that, right, is one of the things I'd like to improve. And we're talking about the other day, and you said, listen, when we finally have kids one day, you can't operate that way because you're going to you're going to take a stressful situation and you're going to make it 100 times more stressful.
And they're going to learn that and do that over again.
Yep. So to reset that thermostat of what sets me off, right? Because picture a physical thermostat. I'm like, anything right here sets me off. Well, I need to reset that thermostat in order to not be triggered anymore.
Yep.
And here's a great analogy. It's a choice. The first example I gave about my money mindset thermostat, that was evidence around me. But with an emotional thermostat, it's evidence around you. Yeah, it's someone making you aware that you need to change it. But then it's a choice. And here's how I know it's a choice. If you think my Chris fits are bad now, and I'm talking to the audience, not you, do you remember the temper that I had when we were dating?
Yes.
And one time I threw a great big temper over something. And
it was something like you forgot.
Something dumb.
A car key.
Something dumb.
Something.
And you said, that's it. I can't do this. I won't be with somebody like this. This is silly. And you left.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, holy shit, she's serious. Like these little fits, these old tantrums, way bigger than they are today. I thought you left and I thought you wouldn't come back. And so I remember being like, all right, listen, I love you. I care about you. I really want to make this work. I promise I won't let myself do that like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed 90% improvement or whatever?
It did on a dime.
90% improvement on a dime.
I actually didn't believe it.
Because it was a choice to reset that thermostat, right? So there's the third piece. The first piece when we were talking about money was somebody needs to make you aware that there's other settings out there. And if the second piece was they got to teach you how to reset it, then the third choice needs to be you, or third piece has to be you. And that's, you need to make the choice to get your ass up off the couch and go reset it.
I love that. Okay, last one. We're just going to do this one quick. Risk. Now, risk in terms of even just doing things that you're not used to doing. I think that expanding your risk tolerance is one of the most important things that we can do, because it really is about just going and doing new things that are going to be the catalyst to everything that we talked about. It's a risk to go and stop being the introvert. It's a risk to stop being the person who's afraid to speak on stage. It's a risk to put your money somewhere where it could actually be invested and grow. Those are all risky things, and they're all so important in order to become the person that you want. So I think it's about just starting small and doing things that simulate as close as you can to creating what you want. So if you want to be a speaker, maybe you can start taking little risks on Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives or small events, small community events, or hosting dinners with 6 to 10 people and getting up and speaking and facilitating during it, doing toasts, volunteering for toasts and things like that. So how can you simulate risk in your life without a lot of risk in the beginning?
Well, here's something that works for me. And just to keep using personal examples, remember the first, let's call it 1/4 of our relationship, as a perfectionist. And so I wouldn't risk anything if it risked making me look silly, right? If I didn't know I would do good at it, then I wouldn't attempt it at all. And I started to see what I was losing out on in life. We would not go jump off the waterfall. We would not go do this helicopter ride. We would not go do whatever because there was risk involved, right?
Because you were worried your hair would get messed up and people would think you looked weird.
So when I started to get in touch with what I was losing by not taking the risk, then that was enough to make me decide to go reset that risk thermostat, right? I'm going to go crank that thing up to a high risk. And now, like, let's fast forward to today. I use that in our investments that we make. I don't want to part with 100 grand here, 50 grand there, 200 grand there. I want that money in the bank. But guess what? That money is not safe in the bank.
No.
That money, mathematically, because of inflation, is actually deteriorating, is shrinking in the bank. So what do I do to part with it? I think about, what am I going to miss? I'm going to miss out on this 10 grand a month. I'm going to miss out on this 15 grand a month worth of returns if I don't part with the money. And it's that extra step of saying, okay, what do I miss if I don't take this risk? What am I guaranteed to not have a chance at getting if I don't take this risk?
Yep.
And that's enough to make you step across that threshold and reset that thermostat.
Oh, I love this. All right. Well, this is how we reset all the thermostats on our bodies, but we're still working out the thermostats in the home.
Yeah. I don't even know where to begin with that. We need an expert. If you guys are an HVAC expert, come fix our thermostat.
You know what's so funny about being recorded, Chris, is I use hand signals to say things like, let's wrap it up, or you're going to finish it on this
Wait, you
one.
can't do this to me right now? By the way, I'm not the only one that throws fits. Lori has her version.
Well, when I'm trying to make sure the podcast is timely. So you want to close it?
I will. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Love and appreciate you. And don't forget, I will send you some text magic so that you can see the day with an abundant set of lenses the minute your feet hit the ground. If you want me to text you a positive money mantra, all you got to do is text me first. Text me the word daily so I know to put you on the list. Text me the word daily to 310-421-0416. Again, text me the word daily to 310-421-0416. Totally free. It was Lori's idea, and now I freaking love it.
And we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Bye.
Hey y'all, I'm so excited to share with you, Earn Your Happy is now part of Growth Day Podcast Network. A bunch of us are coming together to bring more growth to the world and support shows and brands that we truly believe in. And one of my friends is also on the network, and I'd love for you to go subscribe to his show. You guys, Trent Shelton has the most incredible podcast. It's called Straight Up with Trent Shelton, and it's going to remind you that you are built for this. I have heard Trent speak in person multiple times. I've listened to his podcast a ton. He's coming on the show, and I literally cannot wait because this man just spits straight fire. It is like truth that goes to your core and makes you take action right away. If you want one of those podcasts that when you're just out on a walk, you can't help but want to start running and run through a wall in your life, this is the show to go listen to. So you guys, make sure that you go subscribe to the show, Straight Up with Trent Shelton. You're going to love it. Want to know a huge secret to my success? Okay, not only my success, but just about every single person that I have interviewed on this podcast who is successful has this in common. You guys, they love to journal. They capture their life lessons and what they're grateful for. But a lot of people don't keep this up consistently, and most people do know that the research shows that journaling deepens your gratitude and increases self-awareness. But did you also know that journaling decreases stress and helps you achieve your goals faster? In fact, journaling is a huge differentiator between average performers at work and high-performing people. It leads to longer-term clarity, confidence, and success. So why don't more people journal? Why didn't I journal consistently? Honestly, they don't like staring at a blank page. It's hard to carry a book around with you or a notepad, and they just don't even know what to write about, or they just forget. That's why I know that you're going to love Growth Day. It's the world's #1 system for self-improvement, and it's like all-in-one personal development in an app. And it has an awesome digital journal, and people love it. Growth Day's digital journal has hundreds of research-backed writing prompts for self-reflection, positive mindset, confidence building, and success. I use them all the time, and it makes me think in ways that I typically don't, and it makes me ask myself better questions, which we all know gets better results in our life. It even has prompts that help you develop a daily, weekly, or monthly habit of reflecting on your life and identifying areas to grow. So it's a perfect time of year to start journaling, you guys. When you sign up at Growth Day, you also get systems for habit tracking, goal setting, and scoring, and improving every area of your life. Best of all, I get to teach there too, you guys. I'm so excited. I hope that I get to see you. I teach live in Growth Day every single month with a new topic just for you. So join me there. Start your free trial at growthday.com/Lori.